Welcome to LSB Feaster's Radio Air Check and Classic TV channel.
And Dave Simpson's action tonight on Sports Night. Join him and his guests at 7:30 right after Mike Breen with Sports Night magazine. WNBC weather, sunny and cool this afternoon, the high near 60. Clear, cool tonight, the low 40 to 45. Partly sunny and continued cool tomorrow, the highs in the upper 50s. And on Saturday, fair and cool. Currently, it's 60 degrees. And that's what's happening. I'm Judy DeAngelis, WNBC News.
WNBC remembers 66 years of New York's most memorable radio.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.
NBC Radio and its flagship station, 66 WEAF, had been operating in overdrive during the war years of the 40s. Entertainment programs were tailored not only to boost morale, but also to sell war bonds and promote other activities to support the war effort. NBC radio microphones followed our fighting men as they steadily pushed across Europe, reclaiming freedom for our allies. With the surrender of Germany, America's leaders turned their full attention to ending the conflict in the Pacific Theater. On August 6, 1945, WEAF interrupted its broadcast of the Fred Waring program to deliver this bulletin.
This is Ralph Howard Peterson in Washington. I have just returned from the White House, where it has just been announced that the United States is now using an atomic bomb, the most powerful explosive yet developed.
And World War II finally ended. Soldiers returned, families reunited, Americans began to shape a new life of peacetime prosperity, and WEAF once again reflected a change in the times, as this station has done so often during 66 years of service.
WNBC. 66 WNBC.
Yeah. 7 after 3 o'clock. Jim Morris is with us. He is one of the country's leading impressionists and impersonators. And be appearing at the Bottom Line Sunday along with folk singer Tom Paxton. An evening of political comedy and music. Later in the show, the Hells Angels, because I want to make the right friends before we depart the premises. Tomorrow we have a special bang-up show for our last, and anybody's last appearance on WNBC. Cousin Brucey, Bill Cullen, Gene Rayburn, Ed McMahon, Lee Leonard, Big Wilson, Bob Pittman, Larry King, Brad Crandall, Buffalo Bob Smith, Wolfman Jack, Joe McCoy. 7 people will be with us on tomorrow's show. And we welcome Jim Morris to our microphones. How you doing, Jim?
Hi, I'm fine.
That's real impressive. This is the first time I've ever talked to you without you going into character first.
Oh, right.
Even when I met you in person. I mean, he walks in, he does Reagan. but
Really, are all those people going to be here in the studio live?
That's just the tip of the iceberg.
Really?
No, they're not all going to be here live. Some of them will be by phone.
Well, but, McMahon passed away years ago.
But no one told him we're going to prop some of these people up. And Larry King will be at the Chicago airport. He'll be with us by phone. Larry was not a part of this radio station, but he's such a big part of AM radio. We're going to do a whole thing on where radio is headed. But Lee Leonard and Big Wilson, the people I grew up listening to, like Big Wilson, Lee Leonard, Bill Cullen did the morning show, and it was WRCA. Cousin Brucey was here for a significant part of his career. Gene Rayburn, Ed McMahon, who did Fortune Phone on WNBC. Brad Crandall was here when it was your conversation station back in the 60s. Buffalo Bob Smith did the morning show at one time here. Wolfman Jack, of course, a fixture for a while on WNBC. And one of the music voices for a long time, and now program director of CBS FM, Joe McCoy. So it'll be quite an event.
Wow. This is sort of poignant and bittersweet. And
actually, it's just going to be Jim Morris doing all those voices. And you're going to be
incredible. You're going to be closing the book on an era.
An error. E-R-R-O-R.
The Reagan era.
Did you see the debate last night?
Yeah, I did. You can call it a debate.
It's not a debate. It's I think
the joint appearance.
Was it what's her name from PBS? Judy Woodruff. Thank you, Dad. Who called it a joint press conference? That's really a better description of what happened. It's certainly not a debate using the Oxford rules. But, you know, when Dan Quayle looked at that camera and took some of these pauses, I thought he wasn't going to come back. Some of these, he would go, and he paused, and I thought, Dan, babe, come on.
Yeah.
I mean,
he looks like a kid who who didn't do his homework and is having an oral exam. Really, didn't he look like that?
What it looked like was Dan Quayle was given a bunch of speeches on various topics to memorize, and he had to recite. And every time he was asked, he'd go back, he'd find a way back into the speech.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And whenever he was trying to add lib, he screwed up.
Like the third time he was asked the question.
Yeah.
He he maintained, he answered it before.
Right.
The question of what he would do, physically do. The people want to know, what would you do in the event of a crisis? Instead, he listed his qualifications, his resume, why it's like...
Remember, for the lowest bottom line price, there's only one man to see. Grassi Cadillac and Oldsmobile in Greenwich. 53 West Putnam Avenue, off exit 3 on the Connecticut Turnpike. Paul Bunyan.
5:30 to tomorrow, but 66 years. I was born in 1973. It's no fair I only get the last 16 years,
Really? 66
I mean, that's no fair. Anyway, to my point, sir, can you do Don Adams?
Don Adams?
Don Adams.
No, I did when I was a kid. I used to love that show, Get Smart.
Yeah.
But I don't do him.
Did you do Pee Wee Herman, though?
No, I hope I'm not gonna take requests here.
No, Jim does some specially select people, and if you're familiar with Jim, you pretty much know who he does.
Just one thing I'd like to hear him say. I always wanted to hear this. I never heard it exactly. Can you just say in George Bush's voice, "I am not a wimp"?
I really can't say that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
But here's a fun impression. This is my impression of Ted Koppel singing The Doors. You know that it would be untrue. You know that I would be a liar if I were to say to you, girl, we couldn't get much higher. Come on, baby, light my fire.
That's very funny. I don't know why it's funny. It's just so stupid.
Well, that's what's fun sometimes
So
about humor.
stupid. Tom Brokaw sings, doesn't he?
Yeah. Imagine him singing Led Zeppelin. There's a lady who's sure all that glitters is gold, and she's buying a stairway to heaven. Richard Valeriani was there. Robert Vizell.
I don't think he speaks that well. WNBC, hello.
Now that the grand jury statement came out on Tawana Brawley, can he do Bill Cosby or Mike Tyson? Think they're going to take back their statement supporting her like they did?
Oh, no. I understand that Mike Tyson could not be here. He's preparing for his next fight. He's sparring with his mother-in-law. Working on...
Thank you.
How about the case? What do you think about it? You're usually talking about it, aren't you?
The case?
The Tawana Brawley.
Tawana Brawley case.
Yeah, what do you think now that the statement came out?
Well, I don't know.
Lying or what?
Yes, I believe that I'm one who knows all about lying. And I know that for someone to smear herself with dog excrement is something that I wouldn't do. Although my job has been to try to eliminate waste from our system in government. And that's what we have to do, is eliminate waste and control our deficits.
Thank you very
How
much.
about Morton Downey Jr.? Can you do him?
No, I'm sorry, no.
Thank you. WNBC.
Hi, Alan?
Yeah.
I'm with the Vigilantes Against Terrorists. I'm dedicated to wipe out the KKK, PLO, and all those other disgusting groups.
The PLO?
Yeah.
What's wrong with them? The Palestinian Light Orchestra?
Thank you very much.
Oh, well, he's talking.
Good afternoon, Alan and Jim.
Hello?
I think I read in the paper this morning it took Dan Quayle about a half hour to untie his tongue after the debate last night, which leads to my question, as poorly as he's coming across on his own as well as what everyone's saying about him, if he's as big a dunderhead as it seems he is, could he still be any worse than Reagan should he become president?
Wow.
I mean, if Bush is elected and the tragic happens and Dan Quayle becomes president, which itself would be tragic.
Reagan at least had experience as a chief executive running a state. He, is no genius, but he was able to delegate authority, had good people around him, and that really was what made the Reagan presidency successful. Not Reagan himself, but his ability to delegate. And I don't know that Quayle...
All I can say is that
Quayle can do anything.
I don't even want to discuss this. I think that
anybody be worse than Reagan.
It's hard for me to defend Reagan, but the Reagan at least had a legislative. He'd been a chief executive before, and
look. I just can't even believe we're discussing this. I can't believe that he's a candidate. I can't believe that after a long, arduous campaign, we're left with the choices we have. This is my anger coming out. I really would rather act. I'd rather, I can't believe, look, I'm pleased to be able to get up and do what I do. But the way I feel about it is if they get elected, the country deserves it because it's right out there in front of them. They know the score. If we get we get what we deserve. I'm not going to campaign for or against either person, but look, Reagan was bad enough, but Quayle, I just can't believe it. There's nothing I can say. There's no discussion. You look at him, if you know anything about character, if you know anything about intelligence, you look at the man, you see how inarticulate he is.
And I don't think with Reagan, there's never a character issue. I don't think anybody's questioned Reagan's character. Maybe some of the characters he's played.
It's bizarre that we even had Reagan as a president.
But no one's ever. I don't impugn his character integrity. I don't impugn his. He's not evasive like a
friends of his in the communist witch hunts of the 50s.
Pardon me?
Didn't he testify against his own
depressing. I can't believe that Reagan is president.
That's guilt by association.
I'm cracking up on the air, ladies and gentlemen. I am cracking up on the air. I don't want to talk about this anymore. I have to leave.
I'm just saying that guilt by association is the very thing that we hated McCarthy for, so let's not be guilty of it ourselves. Thank you.
Alan,
don't leave.
Alan, I have to leave.
No, really? You can't
because
leave.
my anger works only through my humor. That's why I can be funny, is because...
you're too angry
I'm hilarious.
To stay here.
I crack myself up when I'm doing the comedy, but I do the comedy out of anger, and I'd rather do the comedy.
Just stay in character.
All right.
Don't leave that character, okay?
Don't leave the character. Okay.
Don't leave home without
Because it's the only way that I've been able to deal with this.
Don't be Jim Marks for the next 20 minutes.
The reality of society today. I just can't believe it.
Well, you get into trouble when you're yourself.
All right.
That's what you say to Dan Quayle. Don't be yourself. Do you think after last night we know who Dan Quayle is? That was the question. Well, after tonight, you'll know who Dan Quayle is.
It's 11 o'clock. Do you know where your vice president is?
It's 10 o'clock. Do you know who Dan Quayle is?
Do you know who Dan Quayle is?
Yeah.
Hey, that's funny. I like that.
You've got it. It's yours.
Thank you.
It's yours.
I like that.
Gave you something today. In lieu of money, Jim Mars gets material. All right.
It's 11 o'clock. Do you know who Dan Quayle is? I like it.
You've got it. It's yours.
See, there's a smile on my face. Tell the people at home there's a smile. Thank you.
All right. 3:37 at WNBC.
And I get 0% financing on his...
First of all, I'd like to know what you thought of Benson's performance.
Well, Benson was superb.
I thought so, too. But what bothered me most was the commentaries after the debates. What did you think of the news analysis from the major network?
I don't think they gave Benson enough credit, and they seem to give Quayle more cachet than he deserved. I don't think Quayle did well at all. I thought he looked vapid, lacked breadth and depth. I can't imagine that anybody bought that this was anything other than prepared text he was reading by rote, which, if you notice, if you really watch the debate, he tried at every turn to get back into a prepared text. Because he's in trouble whenever he ad-libs, and he had prepared speeches on whatever topic might come up. He was beautifully prepped by people like Roger Ailes, who's a genius at this kind of a thing, but it was all prepared. There was nothing spontaneous about Quayle's performance. He's incapable of that.
Obviously, most is why doesn't the news media become a little bit more objective?
Well, then you read people like Ray Kerrison in the New York Post today who claims that the media was out to get Quayle, that it was a hatchet job.
I really don't.
And it's ridiculous.
And Newsday today seems so favorable towards Quayle, which really surprised me.
The man is a vapid airhead.
it really bothered me.
And there's no question about it.
People who actually did not watch the debates argue in Quayle's favor because of the news commentary.
You know what?
People really sat and watched and paid a little attention to what was said.
Well, the problem is these spin doctors who before the debate put the spin on it by saying, they want you to believe that Quayle's a dunderhead who can barely utter half the alphabet and knows only 6 or 7 letters. So anything he does beyond that exceeds your greatest expectations, and he looks good because, wow, I didn't know he could do that. So all of a sudden, he has greater depth than you ever thought possible, and therefore he comes out a winner. So consequently, as a result, the worst debater wins.
Exactly. I mean,
it's crazy.
Just stand there and smile, and they win, and they're qualified.
I mean, look at Reagan's second debate with Mondale. The man could barely hold his head up.
Another thing that you just see Pat Buchanan today comment on the fact that Benson was a little bit mean to Quayle about it.
Mean? He gave him exactly what he deserved.
Exactly.
I mean, Quayle, we should compare Quayle to John Kennedy. We should compare maybe to a piece of tar in the airport runway, not to the man.
Did you see what Robert Redford did when he came to Rutgers?
Yeah, he said, hello, I'm Dan Quayle.
Yeah, that was cute.
Yeah.
But anyway, I've enjoyed your program.
It infuriates me. You really touched a button of mine. It infuriates me.
I mean, even McNeil Laird didn't have, the commentary bothered me last night so much.
And this guy Quayle is a one-dimensional cartoon.
Why do people not think? That's what bothers me. Why don't people stop to think and not listen to this stuff? I know that people these major networks especially have to,
By the way, if you saw the back shots, you saw when they shot him behind, the man is one-dimensional. He has no, he's like a paste on. I mean, what is this guy? He's a decal.
I don't know. I'm really bothered, and I just hope people will stop to think for themselves and see them at face value.
We see those long pauses, I really think, and then...
But, I really was surprised with Benson. I thought certain of his responses were quite eloquent.
Oh, what? He was brilliant. I thought Benson was brilliant.
Yeah, some of the trade things with...
not the trade things, but when they hit him on the deficit and they asked about, well, look, with Reagan and Brokaw asked this question. Brokaw asked some brilliant questions, and they asked him about how, they brought down inflation, they helped the economy, less unemployment, and Benson said, if I could write $200 billion of hot checks, I could do that too. That was a brilliant answer.
There'd be an emphasis on that, which is...
Brilliant answer. Yeah.
I know, it's really upsetting. And I'm sorry to see you go, and I've enjoyed your show, and I don't know what I'm going to do at 3 o'clock now every
I don't know what I'm going to do at 3 o'clock every day.
Take care.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
WNBC, hello.
Hi, Alan. If Quayle wore a white suit, put on a hat, and one of those little change things, he'd look like the good humor man. Incredible.
Yeah. But you know what the bottom line is? Is this going to affect the way people vote?
I hope it does. I wanted to just get one more thing in real quick. As far as Quayle's wife goes, she's one of those PMRC people.
No, I think Benson's wife is.
No, as a matter of fact, they both...
They both are. Benson's wife and Quayle's wife. And I know Benson's wife is involved with the Tipper Gore's organization.
Yeah, well, Quayle's wife is a real extreme fundamentalist. And
well, if you read Liz Smith's column 2 days ago, she was involved with some preacher that who makes Jerry Falwell look like... It looked like... who's that guy from... former Yale chaplain, William Sloane Coffin. He makes... Falwell look like William Sloane Coffin. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Pete Hamill had a great line in his column today. He said when they asked Quayle what 3 books he read, he mentioned Richard Nixon. One of Richard Nixon's books. He said that a politician citing Richard Nixon as an influence is like a businessman citing Wise Guy by Nick Pileggi. To the NBC.
Yes, Alan?
Yeah.
Yeah, hi. I'd like to ask the President a question. Mr. President, did you think that Dan Rather treated Vice President Bush unfairly during the interview about Iran-Contra? And can you imagine how you might have handled Dan Rather in a similar type situation?
Well, I would have jammed his frequencies, and I would have seen to it that he gave my Vice President a very bad rap there. And I didn't approve of that. But, of course, George is a big boy, and he's on his own now. And all this talk about Dan Quayle, I've got to say this, that when I was in New Orleans, I was... well, Nancy and I were saluted by the Just Say No kids down there. And they gave us a rousing. Evidently, George Bush was sufficiently impressed with those Just Say No kids because he appointed one of them as his running mate. But, no, George still didn't know by the time I got on the plane and left New Orleans Monday night. Or Tuesday, rather, when George Bush came in. George Bush had not made up his mind yet when I was getting on the plane as to who he didn't even have a mind of his own until I got on that plane. And then it was okay for him to act presidential. And, no, he went with Dan Quayle. And all this talk about him being in the National Guard. What is so bad about the National Guard? Huh? Nothing.
President, who have you been waving to for the last 8 years when you get off that helicopter on the White House lawn and the camera pans around? There doesn't seem to be anybody there.
Well, I just get out of the plane and wave. That's all I do. I never know where I'm going or what I'm doing.
Somebody tell you to wave, or?
Well, no. It's in the business that I do, the staging of it all.
Thank you very much.
But I will have you know this, that I'm always greeted very warmly where I go. So in case there are people out there, then I'll be waving.
Who do you think won last night?
Who do I think won?
Yeah.
The American people won because they were able to see that not only it was not like comparing apples and oranges.
I think it was the Dodgers, wasn't it? Thank you.
Well, no, yes, you're absolutely right about that. It was the draft dodger.
Hello.
He's the one who won the debate.
Yeah, I saw the debate yesterday, and in the middle of the debate, I turned to the Spanish channel, and after they finished translating the question, the translator started answering the question before Dan Quayle started. Now, he was repeating the same answer so many times that the Spanish guy already knew what the answer was going to be. And over, he kept saying more of my qualifications. He was reading off some sort of pamphlet in the audience. I have no idea. Somebody was holding up cards in the audience,
okay.
I swear.
All right, thank you. WNBC.
Alan.
Yeah.
Hi, after watching the debate last night, I realized exactly who Dan Quayle looks like.
Who?
That's Sajak.
I just said that.
Oh, you didn't? I'm sorry.
I did say that.
He does a perfect job of him.
Right.
Empty-headed, stupid.
Right.
You know something,
Benson doesn't look as good as Hanaway. And we're going to miss you, pal.
Okay, thank you.
Hope everything's good for you.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
It's interesting. I was at the convention in New Orleans, and right after the announcement, during the announcement, I had makeup on, and I was to go up to the CNN booth and go on the air live. And as Bush was on the riverboat there, he gets up, I have one more announcement that I'd like to make. And I said, everybody, here it comes. You know, we didn't expect the announcement until the next day. And so I knew, all right, I can take the makeup off. I'm not getting on the air. Everybody's scurrying around like crazy and everything. Who's Dan Quayle? Who's Dan Quayle? So I knew I'd be going on the air the next day. And when I did, I came out with that analogy, you know, that he doesn't look like, everybody says Robert Redford, he looks like Pat Sajak. Yeah. Then the next week I read it in the New York Times, somebody's editorial.
Well, I thought that in the beginning. So
and then I heard somebody else say it, and I guess it's one of these things that we all have to, so you will share that joke with me earlier that we...
No, I don't remember the joke. What was the joke we said earlier that we liked?
I didn't know. It was very funny.
The NBC.
Yeah, hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd just like to make a comment. Under Ronald Reagan and George Bush administration, not one country has gone over to the Soviet Union.
Oh, well, how could they? It's hard to get transportation.
Yeah, I know, but thanks to Ronald Reagan's strong policies, and also...
What do you mean, gone over to the Soviet Union?
Let him speak. Let the man speak.
Nothing lost to the Soviet Union, like under Jimmy Carter, when we lost 3 friendly governments.
Who did we lose?
And now,
who did we lose to during Jimmy Carter?
Well, Iran went down the drain. We lost a friendly government in Rhodesia to a communist government now, Robert Mugabe.
Yes.
We lost a friendly government in Nicaragua to a bunch of anti-Semite communist thugs known as the Sandinistas.
Oh, and I think it's Jimmy Carter's fault that the Sandinistas took over Nicaragua.
That is correct.
I say, so it's Jimmy Carter's fault that a civil war is raging in another country. We should blame Jimmy Carter for that.
And also last night, remember when somebody said about, you're not John Kennedy? If I was Quayle, I would have said, let's hope not. Kennedy, who let the freedom fighters be shot down in the Bay of Pigs,
He goes to Berlin, say, "Üst Berlin," and he lets the Russians build a wall. He should have sent the
Let me ask you a question. All this rhetoric. Let me ask you a question,
Yes.
sir. Did you watch the debate last night?
I did.
Were you impressed with Dan Quayle?
To be honestly, no. I was not impressed. But it's not going to change my vote. I'm still going to vote for George Bush.
And as Lloyd Benson said, if you do, please pray for his health every night.
I still say Bush will win.
He may win. It's going to be very close. I think Dukakis is going to win, but I think it'll be very close. It could go either way. But please pray for George Bush's health.
Well, of course. I hope he wins.
Yeah, and stays healthy and lives.
Oh, of course, Alan.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying here? God bless America. WNBC.
Oh, Alan.
Yeah.
How you doing today?
Good.
Listen, Alan, I made up a tribute tape for you and your staff. I'd like to play for you.
How long is it?
It's about 90 seconds.
No, I don't think I'll have time for the whole thing. But let's hear some of it. Go ahead.
Okay, hang up when you want. It's very...
I always do. Go ahead.
Alan, what will you say to the Emmis people Friday night?
I can't understand. I hear you knocking. What was I saying to the Emmis people on Friday night? Okay.
Over here we have David. This is Alan's producer. David, how does it feel to be out of work right now? Alan, NBC is gone forever. How does that make you feel?
Like Dickie Goodman used to do these, remember?
Here we have Melinda. She's another producer of the show. Melinda, you've been working with Alan a long time. Are you going to miss him very much? And Judy, sometimes Alan's show is so good, the time just flies by. Can you give us your sentiments on this? Alan, we're all wondering, when are you going to be on the radio again? Well, then, don't you have any prospects? Maybe you'll be on AM, FM? Can you give us any idea? Here's Melinda, Alan's assistant producer. Melinda, there's a lot of prospective employers out there. Is there anything you would like to say to them?
Well, there you go. It's kind of cute, eh?
Yes, it was a tribute to an American hero, Mr. Alan B. Mr.
I can't get away from that, can I? it's in my head. You know what the NB in NBC stands for? No B. No B Colmes. That's what it stands for.
No B Colmes.
Right. The NBC.
Hi, yes, I'm waiting for Aaron Colmes.
This is he.
Oh, how you doing? Am I on the air?
Yeah, and Jim Mars is here, too. Go ahead.
Okay. I just want to, because Quayle was in the underdog, I was voting for Quayle myself.
Oh, well, let's not really look at the issues or look at which candidate we really like or what would be better for the country. Let's just vote for the underdog because that's the American way, right?
Voting. I was just looking at it as who was going to win and not. But
like a sporting event. It was like the Met game.
I came to
it's about as important as a ball game, right?
Anybody who supports Quayle, do we want a person who can't speak for himself during a debate to speak for the entire country?
Yeah, I think
that's scary.
The only civilized way, short of revolution, and I'm not advocating because
then we'll really move in on the station.
Take it over. No, but I mean, this is the perfect argument for a parliamentary system of government. If we want to keep our democracy, we've got to limit the campaign spending fund. And I think that Lloyd Benson really made a fool of himself on this issue. I mean, the only reason Lloyd Benson looks great is it's because it's compared to this other guy. But look at Lloyd Benson. I mean, look at the way he does it. He's a typical senator,
He's the lesser of two evils.
The movie you got to see
evil
is
of two lessers.
Yeah.
The lesser of two boll weevils.
Lesser of two feebles. Listen, you got to see the movie Advise and Consent, one of my absolute favorite movies, with Charles Laughton and Henry Fonda, and it's a great movie about the way Washington works. It's timeless, this movie, Advise and Consent.
Or The Manchurian Candidate, which has been out in re-release.
Or Power, or The Candidate.
Well, you know that the movie The Candidate literally was the one that persuaded Dan Quayle to pursue a political career. He was inspired by that movie.
Seriously?
Yeah. We make jokes about him and Robert Redford, and but that performance by Robert Redford in The Candidate was Dan Quayle's inspiration. That should tell you. It says it all. It says it all.
Why can't we have a parliamentary form of government where each party puts up their best, and you stand before your peers and you debate every day, and then the elected official, the person who serves as the prime minister. See, we have a president already. We have Reagan. He's a ceremonial king. You know, what we need is
a prime minister.
A prime minister who will go up to the Hill every day, debate the issues, and get an earful, and do the work without, all of the glamour and glitz that the Reagans have been looking for.
Jim Morris will be at the Bottom Line Sunday along with Tom Paxson, an evening of political comedy and music, and I've enjoyed, once again on WNBC, sharing a microphone with you many times, and I hope we'll do it again.
Well, thanks, Alan. I wish you all the best. I have no doubt that your listeners will be able to find you on the dial somewhere soon.
Thank you very much. See Jim Morris at the Bottom Line this Sunday night, and later in the show, the Hells Angels will be with us.
Out of here quick, okay?
And tomorrow we have a special broadcast. I'll tell you more about it later, but some of the major personalities who have been part of WNBC for most of the last 66 years, many of whom are still living. 4 o'clock at WNBC.
This is news from 66 WNBC, New York.
I'm Doug O'Brien. Here's what's happening at 4 o'clock. WNBC Radio signs off tomorrow afternoon if everything goes according to plan, but not before helping somebody out one more time, we hope. Janet and Peter Reynolds of Hart's Location, New Hampshire, were traveling from home to Pennsylvania in separate cars. They were both listening to WNBC. Janet hasn't seen Peter, though, since this morning in Hartford. Peter, call your wife. She's in Pennsylvania. Call 1-800-932-0586. Election news of different kinds.
Who won last night's debate? Opinions run right along party lines. Naturally, most polls give the edge to Lloyd Benson, some heavily so. The same polls agree, however, Dan Quayle did not make any embarrassing blunders for whatever effect that might have on Election Day. Democrats loved Benson's "You are no Jack Kennedy" comment. President Reagan today called it an uncalled-for cheap shot. In Chile, the people have voted no to further rule by strongman General Augusto Pinochet. And Maureen Meehan, reporting from the Capitol, says the mood is the general should pack his things and get out.
The 1980 Constitution, which was written under Pinochet's direction, calls for the defeated general to leave office in a year and hold multi-party elections. The mood here at the moment is that Pinochet should not bother waiting.
Ball game 2 of the American League playoffs. It's in Boston. The NHL season opens tonight. Quebec is at Hartford. The Devils are in Philadelphia. The Islanders in Calgary. The Rangers play in Chicago. WNBC weather clear and cool tonight. A low in the low 40s. Partly sunny tomorrow. High in the upper 50s. Tomorrow night and Saturday, variable cloudiness and cool. A low in the low 40s. Highs in the mid-50s. Currently 58 degrees. And that's what's happening. I'm Doug O'Brien, WNBC News.
WNBC remembers 66 years of New York's most memorable radio.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Across Eastern America, New York's WEAF had become known for its top-quality entertainment programs and sports broadcasts. Through the trauma of the Great Depression, our nation's mobilization to victory in World War II, and the sweeping changes that followed it, our listeners had learned to rely on the worldwide resources of NBC News. It should have been no surprise then when in November of 1946, WEAF responded to the new era by changing its name. The new call letters reflected the station's flagship status with the nation's leading radio network. 66 on the dial was now known as WNBC. Although the name had changed, the mission remained the same, to inform and entertain.
The Johnson Wax Program with Fibber McGee and Molly.
I haven't seen the air so white since that cyclone hit the Feather Mattress Factory.
And now, Lever Brothers Company, the makers of Rinso, invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the story of Emmis and Andy.
Well, hello there, Sapphire. Well, she looks pretty, and the packages had a lot of color.
Yeah.
The march of time.
There were no immediate changes in the station's programming, but the switch from WEAF to WNBC was a portent of many exciting and unexpected transformations that yet awaited the radio station in its 66-year odyssey.
WNBC 66 WNBC.
Very emotional around here, as you might imagine.
Oh, Mr. Cole.
Steve has come in, Judy, to say goodbye.
The saddest day of my life.
Well, no, tomorrow will be the saddest day of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tomorrow will be the saddest day of my life.
Yeah. And, the sadness is not because of us, because we're all going to go on and work elsewhere in the business, and we're going to get new jobs and advance our careers and make more money.
And Steve will probably follow you wherever you go.
And have better benefits. Yeah. And come to think of it, thank God we're getting out of this place. but the sad part is that there'll be no more WNBC.
Will you still be my pal?
I don't know.
Please.
Yes, I will. I'll try my best.
And Judy, too?
Sure.
Yeah.
And Elena?
Well, Steve, we've done a lot of good things for you, right?
Elena's thinking about it.
Yeah, you've been the best. And Melinda, too. I love you, Melinda.
Steve, don't cry. Don't cry.
I promise I wouldn't do that.
Steve, when I get another radio station, you'll talk to me there, right?
Yeah. But will it be the same, Mr. Cole?
No, it'll be better.
Be better.
Be better this next time around?
We'll work for management and owners that like radio.
And that stay, right?
Yeah.
And don't make promises like Robert C. Wright. We'll never leave the radio business.
Well, I don't want to say bad things about powerful broadcasting people who have jobs. But
let me do it, Mr. Combs. Let me do it then. I got nothing to lose, right?
Well, no, because
these guys don't know what they're doing.
That's true. You have nothing to lose.
Huh? What?
Steve,
right. You have nothing to lose.
Why don't you just ask Alan for his home phone number, and then you can call him every day?
I can do that, Mr. Combs.
No.
Come on. I'll call you tonight, right? It's about 7:05.
I'm taking a vacation.
Well, all right, when you coming back? Hey, can I have your number? You got my number, right? That's only fair I should got your number, right? Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
You know, he's not even
call 247-8666. First thing Monday morning. Got it? Okay, got that? Write that down.
He's taking the number with him?
8666.
Yeah.
Okay? That's where you can reach Alan.
He's taking the number with him?
Yeah, that's what he's doing.
Hey, you know what? Maybe he's hooking it up to Elena's chocolate phone, right? That's the number.
Yeah, Elena gave me a chocolate phone for my birthday. Yeah, it'll be on my chocolate phone.
That's right.
Yeah.
I can go. All right, Mr. Cole, I know you're only fun of me. I'm not that stupid, right? But I'm going to miss...
Pretty damn close. What?
Judy.
I'm sorry.
Judy, this is not the time for this, Judy.
I'm sorry. You know what it is, Steve? Forgive me. I'm lashing out, and I don't mean to.
I know.
I'm masking my
exhibiting her own angst, directing it towards you.
Yeah, and it's not fair.
I know. But it's not only today I'm used to it. Listen, Mr. Cole. I
want to PMS, post-media syndrome.
That's a good one. Right? That's a good one.
And that's with capital letters.
This has been like one big family.
Not with capital cities. What?
Mr. Cole.
Huh?
This has been like one big family. The Alan Colmes family, right?
You've been kind of like the errant child, you know what I'm saying?
The
child constantly punished for being...
I wasn't punished. You did good by me, right?
Yeah. You talked to Eddie Albert on the phone?
Yeah, Eddie Albert and Dennis James and Ruth
and you finally got to meet Donna. You got to meet Donna.
I touched them 4 times. You can't say better than that.
What did I say about touching the guests? Well, there's no touch. There's a sign in the room, no touching the guests.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to do that now, right? I'm not going to. Could I touch you later?
No. Steve, thank you very much.
Mr. Combs. Wait a minute. Mr. Combs.
Yeah.
Can I sing you a song? Could I sing you a little goodbye song?
Go ahead. Come on, let him sing.
All right, fine.
I want to sing you a little song.
Okay, fine.
Just a little song.
Okay, a little song.
We'll be loving you always.
Beautiful.
Mr. Combs. With a love that's true. Always. Mr. Combs. When the things you plan need a helping hand, We will understand always, Mr. Colmes. Days may not be fair.
They may not.
Always, Mr. Colmes. That's when I'll be there. Always, Mr. Colmes. Not for just an hour. Not for just a day. Not for just a year. But always, Mr. Colmes.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you very much.
That's from my heart, Mr. Colmes.
Thank you so much, Steve.
Not
Thank
for
you.
your vocal cords, that's for sure.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye. We love you, Steve.
We're gonna meet again, right?
Well,
You could lie a minute, right? You could lie.
Steve, we're going to meet again.
So you'll enjoy you'll enjoy being on Radio Argentina with me, and
wherever you are, that's where I'll be, Mr. Colmes.
all right. Thank you, Steve.
Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you, pal. Thank you, pal of mine. Pal of mine.
Pal of mine, right?
Thank you very much.
That's the best. Thank you, Mr.
pal.
Colmes.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Steve. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, Steve.
This could go on for...
Steve! Goodbye. Goodbye, pal. like the Alvin and the Chipmunks. Alvin!
So, what's up today?
Huh?
What's happening today?
Doc, we got the Hells Angels coming up.
Hey, now, okay.
I want to make friends with the right people
You got
before we chow down.
Yeah, do we get our last meal? I mean, we are on death row.
Tomorrow's show is catered, I'm told. Let me tell you about tomorrow's show. It's our last show.
Yeah.
And it's going to be emotional. But we're going to have on with us some of the...
Okay.
Will you put that cigarette out in here, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I love you, and I'll miss you. Even though you smoke.
Honey, she doesn't smoke. She burns.
Yeah. I like Ann Graciano. I miss... This is the best group of people. I'm going to start crying. But let's get this straight here.
Yep. Well, they don't call it live radio for nothing.
On tomorrow's show...
I guess this wouldn't be the right time to tell you how much I love you, huh?
No.
Okay, then I won't. Why don't you play a commercial?
No. We got to get through this. On tomorrow's show...
Well, it's not going to be easy.
No, it's not. Neither is the rest of our careers. But tomorrow's show, we're going to have... And David Brandt is here. He's done a great job putting this together.
Yep.
He's emotional, huh?
Why don't you talk for a while? You talk for a while, okay?
Ever see David express emotion in his life?
Yes.
You should be here, David, tomorrow. When the rest of us are crying, you're going to breeze through this thing.
I'm reporting to Alan's apartment on Monday. He's going to give me some chores around the apartment. I think a couple of doors need fixing.
I like a producer who does windows.
Yeah.
But tell me about tomorrow's show. You've done a great job. And you've done a terrific job since Roland left and picking up the reins of Roland, who was our original producer, and you've really done a terrific job booking some great guests. Of course, Melinda booked the big ones, but you filled in. What do you have in your mouth?
It's
his teeth.
What are you chewing on?
Left of them.
Huh? This man has chews on pens. I have no pens left. I'm going to pick up a pen. It's spitting down.
Yeah.
Now, tomorrow we have put together a spectacular final show. Who are some of the people we'll be having? I have the list in front of me, but you booked it, so can you do this?
Wolfman Jack, Lee Leonard.
You got 3 hours to hear this? This is incredible, this show.
Well, it's not fair, because I have a list.
Is it safe to say that there will probably be more people listening to this